Bippity boppity boo. Welcome to Monday's edition of Student of the Gun Radio. Congratulations for making the good decision to join us today. Good job. That's a good way to start off your week with Student of the Gun Radio. And if you've been here for a while, you know that. And if you're new, congratulations on your good decision. Take a seat. Or if you're on the treadmill, I guess keep on going. If you're driving, 10 and 2, stay off your phone, pay attention to the road. And ladies, no farting in your car. All right? You know what I'm talking about. How you doing over there, Jared?
I'm doing well. I'm just reading this Honey Badger stuff that's on the grad program members Facebook group.
For those of you that are not grad program members, and shame on you, but hey, it's America. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. We had a pretty exciting, pretty fun time last week. We talked about honey badgers, and you're like, what's that all about? And, well, I don't know what to tell them, Jared. If they want to know what it's about, they should be a grad program member.
Yep.
But the grad program members, and all of you grad program guys and girls that are out there listening right now, you know what we're talking about. The exclusive grad program members, the private closed group, is going nuts. You freaks are finding everything. It's funny that Jared and I did internet research when we were talking about the honey badger thing, and a lot of the things that we found, like for instance the Spikes tactical lower, we found that, we were chuckling about it, and then almost within hours, one of you guys posted it, and then somebody else posted it, and then somebody else posted it. So Spikes does some really cool stuff. They really do some in your face. They're just dudes. They're just dudes. They do in your face type stuff. They do things. Here's the cool thing about Spikes Tactical. They produce products that the stuffy, stiff upper crust, stiff upper lip kind of Massachusetts gun makers and New York gun makers, they would never consider that. You know what I mean, Jared? Like, you're never going to get that from Big Green or from, some of the others. Screw it, I'll say it. You'll never get that from a Smith & Wesson or a Ruger or, a Remington. You'll never get that, like, tongue-in-cheek funny stuff. Because they have board meetings and they sit around and they're like, oh, someone might be offended by that. Oh, we better not make it. Don't make that. Someone might be offended.
Spikes hired Mookie.
Yes.
They don't care about being PC.
Exactly. They hired Mookie to be their spokesmouth. If they were worried about about offending people, that was the wrong move. So welcome, and if you don't know who Mookie is, you've got some catching up to do. But that's okay. We're patient. We're kind. We're willing to work with you if you're willing to work with us. Now, in my show notes, it's Monday, and we need to go down the laundry list of what the frick is new at Student of the Gun. Now, we understand that a lot of you folks are dedicated, hardcore students of the gun. But at the same time, Jared and I are dumbfounded when people will go to, whether it's the Student of the Gun Facebook page, and that's usually where a lot of the stupidity occurs. Not so much on Gun District or Twitter or Instagram or what have you, but people will post comments or critiques or questions, and we'll look at each other and say, this person obviously is not paying attention. They obviously don't listen to the radio show, or they don't watch the TV show. We've done so much material and covered so many topics on the TV show. And people's like, well, I didn't watch it, or I can't watch it. Or it's like, I don't know how you cannot. Seriously, if you wanted to, it's there. There's a way to get it. Now, right now, for those of you that are show fans or you're interested, studentofthegun.com, Jared revamped it. And if you go there right now, if you haven't signed up for the free newsletter for the broadcast, you want to go ahead and do that, because Jared took seven training videos, kind of seven, what do we want to call those?
7 training tips.
Training tips.
Yeah.
For handgun shooters, for shooters. And you get to watch those for free, right, Jared?
Yep.
What do they have
free.
to, I mean,
you
say, I want to watch
email address, and basically what you do is you go click the button, it pops up, you give your name, your email address, and then I put little check boxes down there so you can check what you're interested in receiving That way we don't send you information you are not interested in receiving. So it's pretty simple. You click the button, and then as soon as you confirm your email address, you'll start receiving the training tips.
Yes, and it costs you nothing. It's free for nothing.
Yeah. And they're called 7 training tips that could save your life.
There you go. It's a big orange. It's an orange button on the homepage. And apparently orange is the color that makes people click, right, Jared?
Right now, yeah.
Yeah, right now. Today it is. Didn't used to be.
You should click on it
What did
anyway.
it used to be? Red? Yellow?
Green. Red made people stop and look. Green was a clicky.
And then they changed it to orange. There are people that sit around in California and come up with these
Yeah, they do split
figure
testing
this
with
stuff
colors,
out.
and they have time for that.
colors and words and phraseology and all that stuff. There's really a science that goes into this. Most of you out there, let's face it, everybody who is not involved in any kind of production, they just see the end product and assume that it just happened. I tell you what, I have a newfound appreciation for, Jared, when I watch movies, when I watch television, what have you. Producers and editors.
Production, yeah.
Producers and editors.
It's funny because Alex, I don't know if she told you this, but after she did the radio thing last Wednesday, she's like, I have a newfound respect for your dad now because this is hard.
She did get to sit in the big chair. Yes, she did. She
I haven't even got to sit in that chair.
You haven't got to sit in this chair yet? Well, that's because you have your own microphone and your own chair.
Yeah, but that chair is better.
Yeah, but who's going to do that stuff if you're over here?
Zach?
Exactly.
He kind of knows now.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, okay. Someday I'll take a vacation. You two can host the show. So the website update. Bam, we covered that. Roku on demand, Amazon TV on demand. And one of our friends who watches Amazon or he has Amazon Prime or whatever, he says, well, how am I supposed to do that? And I said, dude, you just add it to your player, like Roku or like whatever. If you have Amazon Prime TV, you go to your Prime, and it allows you to choose the channels you want to watch to add them. And so you just add Student of the Gun TV, and bam, you can watch it on demand 24/7. How easy is that? I don't think it could be any easier. The Full30.com is an internet way to watch the show. We've talked about this before, but we want to make sure you guys are aware of it. Just full, Full 30, like a full 30 rounds of ammunition in a magazine. Full30.com, a lot of gun-related material there. Like we mentioned previously, Larry Vickers and Vickers Tactical is kind of like it's the pillar show of Full 30, and there's a lot of other material there. We are there, and Jared is trickling out episodes like once a week. It's like once a week we got a new one. Some of them are short, some of them are long. Some of them come from like we put some of the Student of the Gun homeroom videos up there. Those are short, like 3, 4, 5 minute maybe. And then we have complete episodes of the TV show, which go 26.5 minutes. So however much time you have on your plate. But the thing is, it's on demand. You can pause it.
Yep.
And finish watching it later if you run out of time.
The 2 new videos that are up there are it's a series, the 5 tips of carrying a firearm that Dad did with somebody actually called him and interviewed him, and he videoed it, so I put him up there. Part 1 is the use of force definition, and Part 2 is the 3 check boxes that you basically need to check.
Deadly force checklist.
Yeah, deadly force checklist. That would be a better. The 3 check boxes, deadly force checklist.
Yeah, the deadly force checklist.
Yep.
What do you have to check off before you're allowed legally to use deadly force? And that was not recorded specifically as that's one of the ones you can just like turn it on and then like open a new window on your laptop and do other stuff because you really don't need to watch. That was a Skype interview. I don't like to do Skype interviews, but I acquiesced and we got into the those those of you who have followed us on social media, whether it's Instagram or whatever, know that was filmed in the studio in the glass case of Emotion, and the white background behind me is the super high-tech sound-absorbing foam. So apparently not everyone likes the white background, but just understand this. That wasn't done for television.
I was about to say, if you like the information, you can't have everything you like. Okay?
The video is just superfluous. It's just there. Yeah, I don't expect you to sit there and, like I said, just click play and.
Full 30 doesn't support podcast yet, so or audio podcasting.
Mm.
So I had to put the video up there.
So there you go. All right. Well, is there anything else we need to talk about? Well, there's a mobile app, obviously, which you guys can download to your iPhone, iPad, Android phone, and you can. Jared, go ahead and open up go ahead over there on your side and open up the mobile app in your phone and see if there's any questions that need to be answered. And what I'm going to do while Jared's doing that is I'm going to go to gundistrict.com and go to the Student of the Gun page and see if there are any questions on the Student of the Gun page. I don't know if there weren't any new ones yesterday, but I want to make sure that there aren't any new ones today. And thank you for everybody, all you guys out there who have gotten hip to Gun District. Gun District is the Second Amendment gun-friendly social media site. If you're sick of Facebook, you're sick of Twitter, you're sick of all these left-wing California puke faces, cool. We're sick of them too. But we need to have something of our own. So go over to gundistrict.com and you can play with all of your, gun-crazy friends. Let's see. I'm there right now. I'm on the Student of the Gun page. Thank you for everyone who became a member, who liked us, who rated us or reviewed us. And hey, listen up, hippies. If you're a member of Gun District right now and you haven't done the rating or the review of the Student of the Gun official page, would you do us a favor and do that? Because they do pay attention to that stuff. The folks over there at Gun District, they pay attention to what people are reading and so forth. I guess there's not really any new questions, but the consensus that I'm getting from this is have the author read the book. Paul should read the book.
Yep.
The question from last week, was it Thursday?
I think so.
I think it was last Thursday. It doesn't really matter. But Jared said that we were in the process of trying to get audiobooks put together for you guys. And did you want the author of Faith and the Patriot to read the book? And I guess so. What the consensus is, if we can't get Samuel L. Jackson or James Earl Jones or Gilbert Gottfried, if we can't get any of those three to read the book, then I should do it.
So if any of you are friends with any of those
yeah,
people.
so like if you guys have coffee with James Earl Jones, say, hey, I'm pretty sure we don't have it in the budget to pay James Earl Jones to read my book.
Maybe he'll do it for free because he believes in our cause.
That could be. You know what? That could be. He might say, hey, you guys are so cool. I'm just going to do it. Who are some cool voice actors? There's a lot of cool voice actors out there that I would like to have read it.
What's our friend's name?
What's our friend's name?
That does the voice acting. Remember?
We met
him at the Bianchi Cup.
Voice acting?
Yeah.
You're not talking about Mark Christopher Lawrence.
No, not Mark. His friend that we met there.
That does voice.
Broderick? Michael Broderick?
Oh, Michael Broderick? Or Matthew Broderick?
Matthew. It was Michael's.
No, not Matthew Broderick. Matthew Broderick is Matthew Broderick. I
think it's Michael.
Michael Broderick?
Yeah, it's Matthew Broderick's brother.
Cousin?
I
don't think he's his brother. I think he's his cousin.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. But that dude does voice acting.
He does voice acting as well? Well, here we go. Hey, there he is. That's right. He was at the Bianchi Cup. I'm kind of a jerk for not remembering that. Let me see. What does he do? He likes to shoot. We know that. And I believe he is a United States Marine.
Yeah. His job description was he gets paid to say what other people write.
That's his. He was in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer on Xbox 360. He did a voiceover for the game. He was in G.I. Joe's Rise of Cobra movie. Yes, he was. What else has he got here? Criminal Minds, 10 years, whatever. All right, get off IMDb. So, any questions? Is there anything on the mobile app that we need to address? Yes or no?
There's nothing up there, really. There's just the one dude says, just catching up on the show. Work happened. Professor Paul Will Hate Me saw Judas Priest and Iron Maiden in 81.
Ah, there you go.
Most awesome show. If you guys go to studentofthegun.com, click on the mobile app tab on the top right corner, and it's an easy way to get to it. It kind of explains what the mobile app is, gives you some screenshots, and gives you links directly to go download it. So I was going to say buy it, but it's free.
Yeah, you don't need to buy it. And why is it free, Jared?
Because our good friends at Century Arms, they made it free for you.
That's right. That's right. So, speaking of our friends, it's Monday. And because it's Monday, that means we have our SWAT Fuel Warrior of the Week. Let's go ahead and find out what our Warrior of the Week wants to talk about.
People's Republic of California. I wanted to ask you guys, for doing training in low light or night situations, what would be good drills to run, and what gear would be useful? So yeah, just stuff like that. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Well, first, Jared, you tell Travis from the People's Republic of California what he needs to do to get his free SWAT fuel, and then I'll answer that question.
Travis, I need you to send your information to Alex, ALEX, at studentofthegun.com. Send her your name, your mailing address, your phone number, and include your email typed in the body, please.
And that will get you your free bottle of 9mm plus P. And let me tell you what, as a quick aside, I was SWAT fueling like a crazy person last Thursday. I took the SWAT fuel, I went in the gym, I worked out, I lifted some heavy stuff, and then I went to dinner with the lovely Miss Nancy. And we were talking, and we went to one of our favorite places, one of our favorite hotel casino type places, and she had some free play, and she wanted to go. So I had all these ideas percolating in my head because I was like SWAT Fuel +4 at the time, Jared. And so I went and sat down by the pool. I took my cigar, a coffee, and my phone, and I started taking copious amounts of notes on my phone. And I was thinking that there's another company that sells a product called Something Brain, and it's supposed to give you clarity of thought and so forth. That's what SWAT Fuel 9mm plus P is. It is that. But I will give you this: it's not the magic. You can't just take it, sit on the couch, and play video games and eat pizza and say, "Well, I didn't notice any difference." Yeah, no kidding. You actually have to move your body around. So. But when you try it, do that. And also make sure that you guys are leaving positive or leaving responses and reviews for the guys at SWAT Fuel. To your question about night shooting. Night shooting is this weird thing that we always talk about and no one ever does. Because it's cool, it's hip, it's tactical, and all that. We admit to ourselves, if we were honest, we'll say, hey, the FBI uniform crime statistics have shown us year after year after year after year that greater than 50% of all lethal force encounters occur at nighttime or in what they call a diminished light situation. So your chances are at very least 50-50. They're probably more like 60-40, that if you're ever called upon to use a firearm to defend your life, that you're going to be in what they refer to scientifically as a diminished light situation. Well, what does the human eye require to take in information and to help the brain make good decisions?
I would say light.
This crazy thing called light. And if you don't have the light, you need to take it with you in the form of flashlights. Now, if you're going to keep a home defense gun, I would 100% recommend that you attach a light to it. And if you don't want to attach a light to it and you're like, I'm not really comfortable putting a light on my gun. Okay, cool. Keep a light by it. Keep a light near it so that when you access the gun, you're able to access a flashlight at the same time. You don't want to just access the gun and think, man, where did I leave that flashlight? I don't remember. If you can't find the flashlight in complete pitch darkness, then you're wrong and you need to fix yourself. Now, as far as training is concerned, I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to tell you to keep it in first, then move it up into second gear. Don't try and go fifth gear in the dark, especially the first couple of times out. And the reason is, things get weird in the dark. Why do things get weird? Everything's the same, right? It's just less light. Exactly. And what you've got is you have a situation where your brain is not processing the information the same way or as quickly or as accurately as it does when you have ample light. And folks have said, well, and put on, dark sunglasses or welder's goggles or something like that, and they say, oh, that's the same thing as shooting in the dark. And folks, it just really isn't. It's not at all. I can make a sexual reference right now, but this is family friendly, so I won't.
I was over here.
You were thinking the exact same thing. You really want to get out into the dark. Now, if you can go to a school, a training class, if you can go to a range that has organized training at night in low light, indoor ranges are great for that because all you have to do is walk over to the wall and hit the couple of switches and bam, now you have darkness. And the cool thing about a lot of indoor ranges is, let's face it, you're not going to be fighting in a black tunnel in pitch dark. What you're going to be fighting in probably is a situation where you have really deep shadow. You have a real bright light over to your left, maybe car headlights or maybe a street light, and then over here to your right you have deep shadows, and in the middle everything's like shades of gray, and that messes your mind up because you have obviously depth perception issues with heavy shadow. Things that seem farther or closer or imperceptible. So what you want to do, and I used to do this, like if I would go into an indoor range and I was the only dude there, I'd walk over and I'd turn off like half the lights and make it kind of like basement dark, or alley dark, or walking through the parking lot dark. And, people would come in and they give me that weird look like, you shooting in the dark on purpose? I'm like, yeah, I am. I want to practice that. Why? Oh, I don't know. Or nighttime. Now, unfortunately, many outdoor public ranges, essentially the moment the sun goes down, shooting has to end, or the moment it starts to go down, or what have you. No shooting after dark, no shooting after dusk, no shooting before, 30 minutes after sunrise or what have you, because it offends the neighbors. So it's kind of tough to get to a place where you can practice. But here's what I'm going to tell you. If you can get a handheld flashlight and an airsoft gun or something similar to an airsoft gun, you can conduct in your basement, in your den, your garage, you can actually conduct some form of training. Now, I can't train you over the radio. I can't, give you the different flashlight techniques. I actually, many years ago, I don't know how many, 7 years ago, Jared, now? 8 years ago, something. It's been a number of years ago. I went to the Surefire low light operators instructor course, and I have done that. So I can't teach you over the radio, but what I'll tell you, if you have the opportunity to get into a class where you can do low light, I would 100% recommend it. And if you've done it, and you're like, okay, I did it, but now I'm back at home, what can I do? An airsoft gun, you can buy the super cheapo ones that they're just like, a single shot and then you have to recock it, or you can spend a little bit of extra money and buy a CO2 one or a green gas one that reciprocates. That's a good tool to keep your skills up. And if nothing else, if you don't want to do that, just wait till your house is pitch dark and go find your defensive flashlight and walk through your house with the light, shining it on. The house is completely dark, turn everything off, and walk through the house with your light on and check out how your house looks differently when it's not just dark, but illuminated by your super cool Surefire light or Stream light or whatever it is that you're using. And it might kind of be an eye-opener for you. But that's what I would recommend. Also, I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you this lanyap. If you're one of the guys that went out and bought a super cool G.I. Joe pistol light, you got it on your pistol, you practiced with it, you went to the range, you turned the light on, you shot with it, and you're like, yeah, rock on. You still need to have a regular flashlight available, because there's going to be things you're going to want to shine a flashlight on that you're not going to want to point a gun at. Yeah, and you're like, oh, I'll just pull the one off the gun, and it's like, no, stop yourself. Just get a light, and have on you or near you somewhere a utility light, because there's way more things that you want to point light at versus what you want to point guns at. So thank you very much for your question. We certainly do appreciate that, and make sure you send Alex all of your information so you can get rewarded for being the SWAT Fuel Warrior of the Week. And Jared, before we wrap that, tell everybody at home, hey, Johnny, tell everyone what they can do to be next week's SWAT Fuel Warrior of the Week.
You can download the Student of the Gun mobile app, click on the Call Us tab, and then click on Warrior of the Week line. It'll take you directly to where you need to go to answer or ask your question. We will answer them.
Yeah.
Please reverse your questions.
Or
you can just call 682-207-SOTG, which is 7684.
All right, moving right along, let's thank our friends at Frog Lube. It just works. It's green, it's minty, it keeps your guns running. Check them out at froglube.com. Century Arms, the sponsors of the mobile app and sponsors of Student of the Gun Radio. All the new cool guns and gear. Well, mostly guns. Guns and accessories for guns. How's that sound? From centuryarms.com. And Duracoat. We've got Duracoat, pictures of Duracoat products up on Instagram and Gun District and Facebook and all that good stuff. Do one yourself. That's it. You can do it. I guarantee you can do it. You're allowed. Now, you have to read the directions, and you have to actually prep it. I know you guys out there, you're like, oh, man, can't I just grab it and start spraying? Well, you can, but if you want it to look good and to last, you need to actually get all that Rem oil and Hoppy's No. 9 that's been building up for 37 years off that shotgun. But you can do it. Duracoat.com. DVD update. Jared, do you want to go ahead and tell them about that? It got a note in my show notes here that says DVD update.
Yeah, as you guys know, we released the combo last week of the Armed Living DVD and the Student of the Gun book, and we're actually running out of the DVDs now. That combo is only good until we run out of DVDs. And then once we run out of DVDs, that's the last we're going to have of them.
The physical copies.
Yeah, everything from then on will be a digital download. So if you want a physical copy, then get one.
Well, we know that you guys, some of you guys, you like to still have the physical product and hold it in your hands, and that's cool. So the physical book, Student of the Gun, A Beginner Once, A Student for Life, there's that and the actual physical DVD that you put in that little machine thingy. We got a stack of DVDs at the house. You know where we're at now? We're kind of at the same place we were 10 years ago with VHS tapes, where we had this big monster stack of VHS tapes. And then, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, we stopped looking at them. And now we're at the same point. We have a huge stack of DVD movies that we never, ever watch, unless the internet goes out. And then that's the only time we do it, is when there was a really bad storm or something. And
you know what I do? I take my DVD movies and I put them on a flash drive.
You can do that?
Yeah. It's magical.
Then
you can carry all your movies on a little flash drive. You don't have to pop them in the disc drive ever.
What? That's crazy.
I have a flash drive full of movies right now.
Well, good for you. All right, so if you guys want to avail yourselves to that, just go to studentofthegungear.com or SOTGU.com, and it'll take you over there. So there you go. All right, let's go ahead and get into the main meat of this particular episode. Something like police pistols are going to be destroyed? Wow, what?
I like to teach you all the rules. I get to see them set in stone. I like it when you chain me to the bed, but then you see me stand the shade.
All right, this story comes to us from ammoland.com. Hawaii. Honolulu Police Department to destroy guns worth $500,000. I'm sorry, what now? Excuse me? Baking powder? The Honolulu... Now, these guns... Now, you might be thinking, oh, they're going to destroy guns that were seized from drug dealers, right? And all you reasonable folks out there, you know you're there. All the reasonable people in America are like, well, good. I bet these are guns that were seized in crimes, or they're guns that were used in homicides, or maybe this is part of the city's gun buyback program, and so they're going to destroy all these evil guns, right? Bad guns. Bad gun. No, actually, it's not that at all. The Honolulu Police Department and the city of Honolulu recently decided it will destroy $500,000 worth of fully functioning handguns rather than sell them for revenue. And you're like, and you're still, reasonable people out there, Jared, are still thinking, how did the city of Honolulu end up with $500,000 worth of turned in, seized, traded guns? Oh, no. These aren't guns that came from, like crimes or grandma didn't want a gun in her house anymore, so she took it to the police department and gave it to them. No. This decision comes after the department signed a contract for new service handguns to be used by officers. By destroying these guns, the city is throwing away nearly $500,000 in taxpayers' money. So you're saying to yourself, do what now? I'm sorry, hang on. I think I had some stupid in my ear. I need to clear it out. So the city of Honolulu is going to buy new guns for its police department. And you're like, okay, well, that happens. Well, all of you gun culture dudes and dudettes know that this goes on all the time. And Smith & Wesson or Glock or SIG or whomever, they sell XYZ police department brand new Smiths, brand new Glocks, brand new SIGs, brand new whatever. And so they say, well, what are we going to do with the old guns? Well, historically, what you have is you've got, let's say the chief of police. He says, well, we got 57 SIG 226s. What do we want to do with them? They'll either go to the officers and say, hey, do you want to buy your gun? Buy your service gun, then it'll be yours. And this is your cost. This is your price, $300, $400, whatever. It doesn't matter. Or that company will buy your guns. And this is the dirty little industry secret that most people don't ever think about or hear about is, let's say Smith will go in and say, what are your cops using today? Oh, we're using Glock 22s. Well, here's what we'll do. We'll buy all of those Glock 22s from you for X on the gun if you'll sign a contract to buy new Smith & Wesson M&Ps. Glock does it. Smith & Wesson does it. SIG does it. Everybody does it. Now you say to yourself, well, what the hell does Smith & Wesson want with 157 or 208 or 49 Glock 22s? What the heck is Smith & Wesson going to do with them? Well, Smith & Wesson is going to do nothing with them. What they're going to do is they're going to sell those to a wholesaler like AIM Surplus or somebody like that, and then they're going to pass the savings on to you. So you, as Johnny Citizen, can go into your local police supply store, or you can go online and you can buy a police trade-in. Smith & Wesson. I just saw one of the companies, I think it was AIM Surplus, has police trade-in M&P 9s for like $379 with 3 magazines. I'm like, hell yeah. Dudes, that's where I'm telling you, cop guns are shot just enough to break them in. They're not worn out. They're shot just enough to break them in. For the longest time, there was a lot of Glock 22s, Glock 17s, Glock 23s, Glock whatever in the surplus market. Dude, what did we were picking up trade-ins for like $299. Glock. That's the one yeah. So anyway, my point is this: this is not some kind of a weird scheme. Cops selling their, a police agency selling their used guns to a wholesaler so that they can go into the trade-in market. That's not a weird, out of the question scheme there. It's pretty normal. So what is the big deal? Well, the big deal is in Hawaii, where they are hardcore leftists and they're populated by socialists and tax slaves, guns are bad. Even police guns are bad. And the main news story is from Hawaii News Now. And this is the city of Honolulu will destroy $500,000 worth of old police guns. They call them old police guns instead of selling them to other law enforcement agencies. Or they're not even allowing the Honolulu cops to buy their service guns. They can't even buy them. HPD has replaced more than 2,300 of its old handguns with new, lighter, cheaper guns. What? New light. You gotta love news reporters that don't know anything. And the story is by Keoki Kerr. Well, Keoki, let's see. According to Keoki, these are old guns, like they're freaking, like they're Smith & Wesson Model 19s from 1968 or something. You're like, well, what are these old decrepit guns that they're going to have to get rid of? It says, since 1990, Honolulu police officers have used Smith & Wesson 9mm handguns. And the city has replaced them with the lighter and easier to use Glock 17. I'm guessing that they must be replacing, maybe they were like the old Smith & Wesson, the 4-digit, like the 5906s or something like that. They're certainly not M&Ps. So, but we're not going to let the police, we're not going to let them buy those, and we're not going to sell them. It says it learns at the Honolulu News now that they're planning to destroy the guns in the next few weeks, including, check this out. This is, if you're in Honolulu, if you're in Hawaii, and you pay taxes in Hawaii, you should be really angry about this. Check this out. It says they're gonna destroy 2,300 of the old Smith & Wesson handguns, including 200 that are brand new in the box and were never issued. Yeah.
Wow.
Now, somebody here it says, I don't understand the thinking of the administration as to getting rid of these guns when we could benefit from recycling as long as there are safeguards, said Honolulu City Council Budget Chair Ann Kobayashi. In a statement, HPD said Mayor Caldwell and the Honolulu Police Department agreed that they would not allow the guns to be sold to the general public and end up on the streets of Honolulu. The same goes for selling individual guns that could have been used to assemble, or gun parts. The same goes for selling individual gun parts that could have been used to assemble a gun. Police discussed a number of options with city lawyers and budget officials, including selling the old guns with no restrictions on their future use, which would have brought in $250 each, or about $575,000. Blah, 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 blah. This is another option, would have been included selling them to individual law enforcement officers, a move which could have netted the city over $300,000, blah, 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 selling the guns for parts, blah, blah, blah. And it said Smith & Wesson was not interested in taking the old guns back for credit. Yeah, whatever. Here's the deal. There's lots and lots of surplus wholesale gun dealers out there in the United States of America who could have taken those and sold them as police trade-in guns. But what do we know? And so it says the only remaining option is to destroy the guns so they don't end up on the street, said HBD. Yeah. So were they just going to like go out into the parking lot and have an auction and just hand them to people, or would they have had to go through a licensed gun dealer where the legitimate purchasers would have had to come in, complete their 4473 paperwork and so forth? Jared, is that where criminals get their guns so they can end up on the street? As they go to Bob's Discount Guns and they fill out a form 4473 and they buy their guns there? Is that where criminals do that?
Yep, that's exactly what happens.
That's exactly what happens, yeah. Wow. So there you go. And you say, Paul, well, I don't care. Well, you should care, because why would this happen in Honolulu and not any other city near you that's run by liberal Democrats? And you said, And is it not criminal? All right. If when we're talking about a gun here, let's not say firearms. Let's say police cruisers. The police decide that they're going to replace their entire fleet of cruisers. Now, I know they never replace the entire fleet at the same time, but let's just suppose. Let's just suppose that they've been driving around in Caprice Classics and they want to replace them all with Crown Vics. So they have 1,000 cars that are legitimately worth $2,000 in trade-in. And so they decide, rather than to sell them, to push them all into the ocean. What would you think about that? You'd say, well, that's ridiculous. And where did they, this right here, this is the mindset and the mentality of your bureaucrats, of your liberal Democrat statists. We didn't pay for it. It's not our money. And there's always more tax money. Who cares?
It's not like the taxpayers are going to do anything about it anyway.
Yeah.
They're just going to sit there and take it.
I mean, the tax slaves, yeah, they might grumble a little bit, but who cares? They're all a bunch of disarmed peasants. Who cares? And they're going to let us do what we want because they obviously are that stupid. What was that dimwit in Hawaii we did a story about a year ago who they were 100%, they were so hardcore against concealed carry in Hawaii because there was going to be blood in the streets and go back in the archives and look up Hawaiian idiots or whatever.
Yeah, if you just go to SoonerGunRadio.com, I'm sure I tagged it Hawaii. So
yeah, but Hawaii. You know what? You want to know the dirty little secret, Jared? Hawaii is not a nice place. It's filled with druggies and socialists and tax slaves, and there's a lot of crime. You're like, oh, no, the postcards and the brochures are really pretty. Yeah, they are. But Hawaii is run by statists, and it's run by social democrats, and they run it into the ground. And the pretty stuff is the tourist brochures. But if you go out into the streets where the guns are all laying around and pick them up off the streets, well, if you can, there's blood on the streets too, and then there's guns on the streets. So we've got guns on the streets and blood on the streets. But if you go out into there, it's kind of like when you go to the Caribbean, you go to like St. Thomas or what have you, or you go to Jamaica or you go to whatever. They tell you at the hotel, they're like, oh, here, they give you a map. When I was down there in the Caribbean, they give you a map of the recommended tourist area. And what they're essentially saying is, this is where you need to stay. You need to stay in this 4 or 5 block square radius area. Don't go out from here. There's nothing on the other side of that road for you except bandits with machetes and knives who are going to rob you. That's what's over there. Same thing in Hawaii. Stay at the hotel. Don't go out of the hotel. Don't go out into town. Don't go exploring because you're going to get robbed. You're going to get stabbed. You're going to get beat up. No. Yeah. And that's what you get. And that's what you get when you elect socialist Democrats you give them positions of power. They just take your tax money and they're like, it's $500,000. It's just the peasants' money. We can always get more money from the peasants. I mean, what are they going to do? Complain? They might complain a little bit, but it doesn't matter. We're still going to get their money from them. So screw it. We do what we want. And that is the story for today. Now, we've got a fun story coming up from the Great White North. Woo-hoo-hoo! But before we do that, we want to thank our friends at Brownells at Brownells.com. If you own a gun, Brownells has got something for you, and you can get Duracoat from Brownells. Win-win. You can get Frog Lube from Brownells. Win-win. Velocity Triggers at velocitytriggers.com. You got a black rifle? They have a trigger for you. Check those guys out. And finally, if you're going to carry a gun, you should be carrying a gun. If you're not carrying a gun, you're wrong. At least if you're a fan of mine. Go to crossbreedholsters.com, and they can help you carry a gun, secure a gun. If you want to attach a gun to pretty much anything in the world, any physical object you want to attach a gun to, they can help you do that. And you're like, Paul, you're crazy. They sell holsters. Yeah, they sell holsters, but they also sell mounting accessories. And if you, all you chicks out there in the Student of the Gun chick listening audience, if you want to do the purse carry thing, they have the Purse Defender. And when I was talking earlier about the flashlight dealio, they have the bedside backup. And the bedside backup is really cool because if you have a Surefire light or any kind of a light that has a clip on it, what you do is you take your little pistol and you put it in the Ojai gun pocket there on the bed thing, and then you take the clip and you slip it down on the bedside backup, and right there in the dark, attached to your bed, all you have to do is roll over, and you can reach a flashlight and a gun with one motion. Bam, bam. How cool is that? All right, you ready? You got the Great White North theme song all queued up for us, buddy?
Don't wanna be a Canadian idiot. Don't wanna be some beer swill and hockey nut. And do I look like some frostbitten hose head? I never learned my alphabet from A to Z.
Thank you, Weird Al, for giving us that song. That would be Canadian Idiot from Weird Al Yankovic. And, yeah, that's kind of the new one. We went, and Jared and I and Alex and Zach went and saw Weird Al live, and we're like, you know what? We should...
There were a lot of songs that we could
There were a
use
lot
from
of
him.
songs, but that for the Canadian news stories, that would be a good one. This one comes to us ca.news.yahoo.com. The story title: Savage Arms guns at Canadian Tire shocked Clayton Park shoppers. They were shocked. Well, what happened? Here we go. A Nova Scotia woman wants Canadian Tire to get rid of a brand of firearms she says are offensive to, check this out, she said they are offensive to Aboriginal peoples. Maya Rock-Sharp. Okay, what do we say about women with hyphenated last names? What have we been saying for years, Jared? Got to watch out for them. You got to watch out for them because they got an axe to grind. Maya Rock-Sharp was at the Clayton Park Canadian Tire store last week when she saw Savage Arms guns for sale. It's scary. When I looked closer, I saw that there was a picture on top with an Aboriginal man in headdress. Dude, they actually used... That's an actual quote. Aboriginal, capital A, in a headdress, she said. It just shocked me that in today's day and age, that would be acceptable. Savage Arms is a company that's based in the U.S. The founder's name was Arthur Savage. Yeah, that was the dude's name. On the history section of the website, it says the logo was given to the founder by Chief Lame Deer in 1919. The website says the two made a deal that the tribe would receive discounted rifles and Savage would get their support. How cool is that? He was making gun deals with the Indians back in 1919. Arthur Savage added the Indian head logo, a direct gift from the chief to the company's name. It doesn't give the chief's tribal affiliation or any biographical information. Rock Sharp said the backstory doesn't make a difference. Here we go. It's racist in a way that puts the two together. I think they should discontinue selling these guns. Was she going to buy one of those guns? Is Rachel, or is whatever her name is, Maya Rack Sharp, is she the demographic for the gun purchasing customer there at Canadian Tire? I'm going to go ahead and guess not. I'm going to go ahead and guess she was never going to buy one of these guns in the first place. I'm going to go ahead and say she can venture forth and fornicate herself. Oh, here we go. It says, she isn't the only person to find the logo offensive. Glenn Reichdahl thinks the company should change the logo. Glenn?
Who's Glenn?
A Canadian idiot. The image that was portrayed, the Indian chief with a headdress and went along with it. Yeah, I find that offensive. You know what I think you should do, Glenn? I think you should search really long and hard for your testicles and see if they still remain. I'm guessing no. I'm guessing there's like a little shriveled up area where there used to be testicles. A spokesperson for Canadian Tire referred CBC News to the Savage Arms website. Oh, you Canadians are so weak. I'm sorry. I know we're not too far behind you, but really? That's like a whole news story. Of course it's a news story. Everyone offended in the world is a news story. I'm offended. Pay attention to me. I've been offended. Well, even after it's explained that the actual Native American Indian type dudes thought Savage Arms was a righteous company, a company that was founded by Arthur Savage. I bet you gun people didn't even know that. I bet there's a whole ton of gun people, and they're like, wow, really? Jared and I, well, we've used, well, I've reviewed a bunch of Savage rifles. Savage rifles are actually...
You have to stop saying that. It's racist.
Oh, I know. It's probably
you can't
offending.
say that anymore.
People are probably offended. They're like tinkling in their trousers right now. But now, Savage guns are good guns, and quite frankly, Savage is an underrated gun company. The guns that they make are way better than what you... I mean, they don't get enough credit. They're kind of like the Rodney Dangerfield of gun companies. They get no respect. But they make a lot of really good stuff. They make very economical rifles. A lot of you guys out there, if you're looking for a first-time bolt-action 308 or something, you can get one for, I think, under $400 from Savage. That is I mean, it's not a fancy gun, but it certainly will shoot probably. It'll outshoot you. I've done a lot of work with Savage guns. Not so much lately, but I had a 243 that was a phenomenal shooting gun, and a 270 Savage as well. So check those guys out. Go to savagearms.com. Tell them the student of the gun sent you. All right, it is 52 minutes in, which means what? It means that I need to stop talking, and we need to put the cork in Monday's episode. Do we not, son?
We do.
We do. All right. Go ahead and bump me out, Jack. We'll let them listen to some cool rockin' Madison Rising music. You know, I have to think that music is... It kind of has that the dual purpose. When they first hear it, they get all tingly and they get excited. And then when they hear it the second time, they're like, "Aww." But have no fear. We'll be back tomorrow. We promise. Until then, remember, you're a beginner once, but you should indeed be a student for life.